I don't know if anybody noticed, but I solved my tutorial problem. I did some Googling on my computer laptop, and I did some just fidgeting around with unlisted uploads with other videos. Sorry, I'm doing curly hair, don't care, because I don't have anything important to do. Well, I didn't, but I do. I got a message today. This is one of my favorite things, was I am gonna go do makeup today. That's my exciting thing. So I have some brushes to clean today. Maybe I'll do a video on it since I gotta do it. And so while I wait for people to come on, I'm just opening a few things. I'm gonna use a Beauty Society setting spray today. And it's because I'm supposed to be getting the L'Oreal Blurring Perfection. It is hard to find, and so I'm wanting to use them both. So with L'Oreal, so I will be using that hopefully next Monday, because I might have to be ordering off of Ulta or Amazon or something, because oh my gosh, the amount of stores I've gone to in my town, you would think that makeup was being removed from stores the way the shelves are empty. It is insane. So Amazon, perfect. Good morning, Pam. Good morning, Lisa. Okay, so I'm just gonna open a few things. I've been slowly digging through this advent calendar, but I wanna use, I figured out what the problem was. So I tried to do a video with Beauty Society's setting spray. First off, I am curious, for the few that are here, do we wanna see a hybrid again? Because, good morning, Nikki. Happy Monday, Monday. Oh, hello, Karen. As I told my nephew this morning, and it was the cringiest thing he'd ever heard, because he's like, I don't want to go to school. It's Monday. I'm like, it's Monday. I like Mondays because my house is empty. Anyways, my husband's training for a run, so yesterday kind of felt like a Monday, because he left at 5 in the morning to go drive an hour away to go do some trail running for training. He's doing something. It's in Washington, and it's called Lastest Not Fastest. It's this crazy run where you run for 4 miles at the top of the hour, and then every hour at the top of the hour you run 4 miles, and you continue doing this until you are the last person. So it's called Lastest Not Fastest, because obviously you're probably gonna have to pace yourself. And so yeah, last week I opened 2 things that I was very excited about, and one of them was this oil absorbing rollerball. I don't think that this is available yet, but that's why you get these things, is there's travel sizes, full sizes, and so with that you also get items in here that are not always available. So yeah, if we're gonna be nasty, we're not gonna be here, just so you know. I don't really engage. I just delete you and remove you and block you, because don't be a dick. Okay. I just don't, I'm in the thick of life right now, and I just don't have time for the niceties anymore. All right, I got infuses. These are fun little drink flavors. This is a, I'm just gonna tell you, I'm gonna maybe open 1 or 2, but there's plenty of people here, so we're gonna get into flavor juicers for, I don't know. Let's just see again. I got plenty of people here, but do we wanna see a hybrid of liquid foundation or All Saint? I'm gonna leave it up to y'all to tell me what I'm gonna do, because I am gonna also in my Facebook group. If you're not in my Facebook group, you need to be in there. That's where I pose a lot of questions. I share a lot of pictures of just, I'm able to share better there because there's a platform, and I don't feel like people really see my YouTube feed based off of engagement. So it's hard to share there. So there's that. But I'm curious if everybody wants to see a hybrid of Beauty Society or All Saint. I see one Saint. I've been using my hybrid, and I love the foundation. If you're looking for a good liquid foundation, Beauty Society's is the best I've found. For what I look for out of my makeup, which is hydration. I want something that works with my maturing skin. So all those things, that checks a lot more boxes than any other foundation I have found. So there's that. I'm gonna use Saint today, but also in my Facebook group, I posed a question yesterday and it went really well. I got quite a few responses on it, and it was about the pressed pigments. So this week in my Facebook group, and maybe even here on some of my videos, because I solved my video problem of them being blown out. It's the pressed pigments. A lot of people are scared, and I think it's because, I think the number one thing they're scared of is, one, they're really bold colors, which, I'm sorry, it's about time. Anyways, but the pressed pigments I think are more scary because they're called pressed pigments. That's it. Pressed pigments sounds really scary, and after using them, they're not any different than the matte finish eyeshadows, honestly. I think these are just neutral city, and these are, I mean, you could just tell, these are so neutral, so safe, and these are great, and they're not any different than the eyeshadows. Honestly, I think sometimes Philly, when we had Dabadi, which was a bold blue, they picked up better than pressed pigments. So here's my only thing. There is a disclaimer on Saint's site that the pinks, so I'm going to point them out. So these two here, this guy here, and then these two, they come with a disclaimer about eye allergies. And I'm saying this because all the picks that people are scared of were those colors. And today I'm going to use one of them, and it's called Days. I'm going to find it here. This one is very orange. And the pressed pigments, they're nice. I just don't, they're bold colors, but I mean, look at when I rub my finger on it, that's what it looks like on my finger. This is what it looks like on the tin, and this is what it swatched out. That's a big difference. And I just want to remind everybody that anytime you're playing with an eyeshadow, they're always going to be a different kind of color. So you can take, I want to find a brush I'm not going to really play with. So you can take a color, and then you put it on with a brush. So we have the tin, the swipe, the swatch, the buff down, and brush. That's a big difference. So don't let anything intimidate you. If oranges are your color, then there's that. Oh, I did fall nails. These are, what is this? Mocha Cherry. It's a D&D color. So fun. I dove into fall because it's after Labor Day. Anyways, so when you're looking at pressed pigments for Saints eyeshadows, one, I think it's great to be able to customize a palette to whatever you want. And you should always think about, if you're buying one of those huge eyeshadow palettes by Urban Decay or whatever, you're spending a lot of money on a lot of the same colors. They're all very, like, 12 shades of brown. But like, it just is very safe. But if you could just throw one extra color, what if you could customize that? It's just nice, and you don't have to buy up all at the same time. You can build and go. Anyway, that's why I like Saint. They're $14 an eyeshadow color, but they last. They're all well pigmented. They all last, and there's more quantity in one of these tins than what's in those Urban Decay things. There's, oh, biscuits. I know it's somewhere. I think it's like 3-point-something grams, which is more than you get in other palettes. They may look bigger, but they are shallow. Anyways, let's play with some makeup. So we're going to do some eyeshadow. I am going to be using the color Days, and I'm going to try a little bit on my eyes, but I want to keep in mind all of those bright, vibrant reds, pinks, oranges that are in there have a disclaimer. And I know that, I don't want to say I know, but I have a friend that does Saint. Every time she used the pinks, her eyes, she'd have an allergic reaction. So it's something in the red ingredients that can cause eye reactions. So if you have sensitive eyes, I would say steer clear of them altogether for your eyes. But we are going to play with this. I'm going to make a lip color out of this. I think I'm going to do a topper on my blush with this because I think it can punch things up nicely. Okay, so shut up, Amanda, and let's dig in. Okay, so watching from India. Ooh, I used to have a roommate from India. Her mom used to call a lot. Like, we had to take the phone off the receiver. But I used to know some Punjabi. It was fun, but I only knew swear words and I forgot them because it's been 25 years. Okay, so I'm taking my Sense Shadow Sense. I need to order another one. And I'm going to put this on as my primer. This is a liquid, thick eyeshadow, but it works as the best primer you'll ever try. It's $25. I don't sell Sense, my friend does, so I always just share her link. Then I'm going to go in with a BK Beauty brush. I like to use this just to prep my lids so no other color touches it. It has a lot of makeup on it, but it's not going to be wild color, so it doesn't compromise the shade. So we're going to take this, and you want to work with this product pretty quick because it's going to get into the nooks and crannies and the creasings of your lid, and it's going to set, which means your eyeshadow isn't going to crease. And that's kind of why you're buying the primer anyway, so it doesn't crease. Okay. So we're gonna press this on, press this out. And then I'm gonna put it with I'm gonna set a powder base, because powders blend best with powders and it creates less sticking if you do just a nice neutral lid color. And this is the best shape brush. I wish they had this shape. I'd buy the heck out of it. I think the smudge brush is similar, but it's not the same. This is the smudge brush, and they're just not, let's use my hair. They're similar, but they're not the same. Okay, good morning, Brandy. It's good to be back. It is. I shared this last week. My grandma, we just put her into a memory care facility, and it just creates so much. It's never just easy with them going in, but also between family, because everybody reacts so differently to things. And I think it's a form of loss when you're putting a family member in memory care, because she doesn't remember who I am. So I have that loss. She doesn't remember my mom, her own daughter, and that was a lot. And it's like, and everybody reacts so differently to loss, and it can make people pretty nasty. And I have a pretty decent sized family, I think, and they don't do trauma well. My family does not do trauma well, and so I just haven't been able to be myself here, but now I am. Okay, this is a 203 brush. I love this brush. The Small Eyes collection is actually a really great collection. I just don't really love their angle brush. I don't feel like it picks up enough. I just don't think it does anything. It's a worthless brush, but it comes in the collection. I mean, this doesn't pick up, it's so thin, and which can be great, but it's so thin that it doesn't even pick up enough product to make a line. I can't eyeliner with that brush. I can't brow with that brush. I can't with that brush. And so yeah, good morning, Shelly, but it does come with a really good fluffy brush, and it does come with this nice, this is like the eyeshadow brush, but bigger. It's a Small Eyes brush. This stuff's bigger than the eyeshadow brush. Do I have one here? No, it's in a drawer. It's in a drawer. I compare it all the time. If you're new here, I always like to, ooh, I found an etch brush. I have so many brushes in here. So this is an eyeshadow brush. So they're pretty the same on this one, but the fluffy end, that's bigger, right? Am I right? I'm right. All right, but then it also comes with this little eye shader brush, which is bigger than the etch brush. So this is the etch brush, same style brush, but this bad boy is awesome. I used to share another brush, very similar. I think I keep it in my makeup bag when I go do makeup, because if you're local to the Oregon coast and where I'm from, there is this amazing studio that just opened up recently within the last year where they do podcasts, and I do makeup for people who do video podcasts. So yeah. All right, Italy. Oh, I love Italy. That's on our list of things we want to go back to. Okay, so we're gonna do some makeup. I'm gonna take that BK Beauty brush, and I'm just gonna base my lid with Cupcake, which is just this nice little thing here. All right, hello Desiree. We're gonna take this color, and I'm just gonna pat this on, and this is gonna give me that really nice powder surface to blend on top of. I like using a lighter color. It helps punch colors up, give them more definition. And this is just discoloration from eyelash serum and then mascara probably. All right, so that is one thing I'll say. I really like the FanFest mascara. It's my favorite. Washing it off, it's like washing off waterproof mascara. It's tough. Okay, so we're putting that on. I'm gonna put a little bit of shimmer on. When I say a little, I mean a lot, not a lot. But I am gonna take Drift. I feel like this has more punch in the shimmer because some people really like Sabrina. And I just think Sabrina's just a little flatter. It's a shimmer. I stinking love Drift. If you want something really bright though, Sabrina's a good option, but I just pop this onto the lid here and it's pretty close to the color between, I would say, Cupcake, but also Pup. Pup is a good neutral. All right, so this color is so very vibrant. And I want to say, anytime you're going to pop something crazy like this on, I think instead of doing a full lid of this color, which could be fun, it could be fun. I'm going to play with this a little bit, but it's always nice to just take a color like this and then put on a neutral eyeshadow and then just pop a dot. And then you can add just a little pop of color on the outside, the mid, the inner. It's pretty. I kind of want to do an eyeshadow look. If anybody watches the Wednesday show on Netflix, there's that girl, oh, I can't even think of her name, but Enid. She has this beautiful eyeshadow all season, and I kind of want to try it, but I'm not great with that kind of stuff. So anyway, okay, so we're gonna go in with a brush. I kind of want to find one moderately clean. I'll use what I used at the wedding. Okay, eyeshadow brush it is, because that's what popped up first. And I'm gonna go into my latest favorite, Santa Fe. This has replaced Leo. It's really pretty, and I don't have hooded eyes because from the front you can see my lid, which means I'm not allowed to say I'm hooded. But if I do this, you can see I have a lot of skin over here, which creates hooding. But from the front, I don't look hooded, but as I turn, do you see how this becomes a lot more? I talk about it all the time. When I say I'm hooded here, so I'm allowed to say I'm hooded. And hooding comes with age, or you're just hooded. Some people just have very heavy hooded eyes, and they always have. But that doesn't mean you can't wear eyeshadow. That just means your eyeshadow goes all up here, and then you can add some delight on your lid, because when you blink or you look down, people will see it, but it's like a fun surprise, okay? So there's that. But I'm gonna go into Santa Fe with the fluffy end of the brush, and I'm just gonna create, like I do with all Leo colors, but this, again, Santa Fe. This is a pressed pigment also, and look at how it goes on. It doesn't look like that color. It's a nice, neutral, warm, okay? It's fall in my book, and after Labor Day is fall. All right, I've gotten, I think, 2. I've been really liking the pumpkin pie white mochas. Not spice. There's spice in it, but yeah. Okay, so we're just gonna grab some more, tapping it off, and I'm just pushing this all on that top fold, above the fold, that top area of skin. I mean, what do you guys want me to call it since I can't call it hooded? It really ignites people when you can see the lid and somebody says they're hooded, but I'm just like, I'm so sorry, but that looks pretty hooded to me. I'm sorry I have to turn my head a certain way, but I do work with this, and I pull my color past my outer corner. This is going to give me some lift. It's also going to accentuate and enhance my brow bone, which can be very pretty. And we're just popping this on, and I like to make mine a little deeper. Yes, up into hood. Anyways, I've never been to a hood, but okay, so the next color I want to go into, I kind of want to do another pressed pigment, and I almost want to say, is this one that people, no, nobody picked this one. This is Baker Street. This is another pressed pigment. This was a limited edition release that's now back, and it's so pretty. I'm going to grab it. Pressed pigments they're just like they're just like the matte eyeshadows. They are, okay? And so we're just gonna press this along the base of the lashes out here, and then I'm gonna go up onto my hood, and I'm gonna push that at the base of that brow bone and into that Santa Fe. Santa Fe is not a standalone, not in this look, it's not a standalone, it's a transition shade, so it's more of like, it's gonna peekaboo out. It's like layering paper, okay? Oh, let's see. Oh, in New Orleans, you know what's funny? That's the only time I've ever really experienced it, is when I lived in Louisiana. I lived about 45 minutes outside of New Orleans, and I couldn't ever get pizza delivered to my house because they wouldn't deliver past the hospital, because guess what was right past the hospital, which I thought was garbage. But I don't know what it's like in there, so I really can't say, but I'm just like, that sucks. So they'd have to walk to the hospital to get pizza. All right, so I don't know. We're not going to get into this whole hood thing. All right, but look at how pretty this color is. It's a burgundy color, great for fall, great as an eyeliner if you get the brush wet, but look at how pretty that is. And I'm just using the small end of the eyeshadow brush to blend this over and up. Boom, boom, boom. And it's nice to have a small brush that can just move things in a small amount of ways, and then you can bring it down with what's left. I would do it this way rather than apply it onto the brush and then go here, because I just think it can really take you too dark. But doing your eyeshadow first is really nice because you'll get fallout, and I have a pretty prominent orbital bone here, and so it'll catch any fallout, and then if I have makeup on, it's going to stick to it and then just makes my eyes look a little bit darker. But I have been trying to use my Beauty Society more just to get really get a good feel for how much I like it. I do love that foundation. It doesn't lay exactly the same as Saint, and it doesn't, I feel that it wears down a bit. And so using Saint with the 80% pigmentation, I feel that I still have, I would say, the same amount of product, but it still looks better. If you're going to be taking pictures, if you're going to be in a wedding, I really recommend Saint. There's a difference between non-Saint makeup and Saint makeup, I think. And so there's that. But look at how pretty this is. You just work it around. I just saw somebody talking about a pencil that sets, I can't remember who the product is with, but it looked like this color, and it's so pretty. I'm just pushing this onto the outer lid, but lightly. Look at how pretty that is. Oh, I like it. Okay, so popping it back on, we're going along the lash line, and then again, it's just a greater than less than to start. So going along the lash line and building, but you use so little product with any of the eyeshadows. I just don't think the pressed pigments are all that different from the matte finishes. Okay, let's see. We're just gonna push this down along the lash line. I think this helps give you the illusion that you have a little more lash if you don't wanna be in that faux lash world, which I don't. It's a lot of work. I don't have the time to lay on a bed and have individual lashes glued on, and I don't like the maintenance of glue-on lashes, but they are fun when necessary. I think they're good for purposes, and I was in a wedding a couple weeks ago, and that was it. Okay, so we're just gonna push this up. We're gonna push this over. I'm staying above the crease, and I'm staying on this more excessy skin, and again, just building to match, and I'm just building this up. But I think warms and cools go together like peanut butter and jelly, going under the lash and just bringing it down and around. Just like that. Okay, when I say you're gonna use a bold color, I'm not sure how my eyes are gonna react to this. I've never had a reaction to eyeshadows that have the pinks. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this orange tone. This is Days, it's one of the pressed pigments, and I'm gonna pop it right here in the mid. Look at how pretty that is. Okay, stay with me. It's not for everyone. Not everybody likes a bold, but you know what's fun is that you can go to work and have a nice neutral eye, and then you're gonna go out for drinks, you're gonna go meet up, whatever you have plans for, and then you can just grab a color that's in your bag. Some people keep their palettes in their purse. I have a friend, she takes it with her to work all the time. And then you're gonna go out, you can just pop one of these colors on, just like this, with your finger, and then it buffs around, buffs it down, and you could just build this up. And then I'm gonna take a shimmer with this, but that doesn't look bad. Don't judge your eyeshadow until your face is on. So we can balk at this and be like, I don't know, girl. Stay with me, because we may change our minds after this, okay? So I'm gonna go into my shimmers, and I'm gonna get the color Unicorn, which is a white shimmer. We're going back to 2000, and I'm gonna put this right on the mid here, and it's not as bold as you think it can be. And then right on the inner here, and we're gonna let this work with it, adding a little pop here and here. I prefer to do this before I do my eyeshadow or my makeup because it can transfer down. I'm not a big fan of inner corner shimmer, so when I lay my makeup on top, it's gonna give it a sheen, but it's not gonna be that gunky shimmer stuff. Okay. So I'm just popping this on to the outside, the inside, and then I'm gonna use a blank finger to just marry it together. Okay, now we can go in and do some liner. Liner and mascara are one of my favorite things because it can really transform your eyeshadow, but again, we're gonna go neutral on the face. I always do, but I am going to use Days on my cheeks, and I might try it on my lips. That might be a little too bold for me, but we'll see. Okay, so eyeliner, my favorite eyeliner is Maybelline Tattoo Studio. Nothing fancy, easy to find. You can put it on your click list, pick up. All right, and then I'm gonna grab a small mirror, Saint had these a long time ago and I bought a bajillion of them, but it has a magnifying in it. Does this twist up or I have to sharpen it? I'm not going to sharpen it today. All right, so we're going to just press this on to the water line out here. I look down and I push it up. And this pushes in between the lashes. This is going to get that water line, and this stuff sets. And so once I get my water line done, I only go to where my lashes stop. I don't go too far in because I don't want transfer to gunk up this area. And then I'm going to press this into my outer quarter lashes, and it's going to go onto my lid here. And I do this to give myself a little bit of eye lift. And then before it sets, I'm going to go into that, what brush is this one? Oh my gosh, the number's off. No, 204, the shader brush. And you can see I have some transfer. Let's zoom in. You can see the transfer right there. I'm going to take this brush and I'm just going to buff it and smoke it. I'm not putting any black eyeshadow on. I'm just smoking this and softening it. Okay? I'm going to lick my fingernail and then I'm just going to grab it and give it a little definition of pull. And that's it. There we go. Just by using some transfer. Okay, grabbing this Maybelline Tattoo Studio. If you don't have this one, get it. I mean, it's, I think, $7 or $8. That's better than what you're going to pay at Sephora for a high end that does. I mean, I've tried a lot. Clinique, MAC, Givenchy. Givenchy works pretty good, but I don't like the way it sharpens. It has one of those wood, which people probably really like, have that wood on this part instead of this one that has more of a plastic to it. So if it sharpens funky, you're gonna scratch yourself and it hurts. I haven't tried LA Girl because I have a hard time venturing out of what I like, but I should. Maybe when I order that L'Oreal. So we're just pushing in between the lashes and it's transferring onto the lid. I'm gonna take this shader brush, smudger brush, and I'm just gonna buff this down. And it just softens it, almost like an eyeshadow, but then it's gonna set and I don't have to worry about it moving. Lick the fingernail. What's nice about having acrylics is they're nice fat nails and it doesn't scratch. And I'm just giving it a little pull. There was some transfer here, so we'll just smoke that out. Happy little accident. I don't mind that. I like a good smoky eye. And then I'm just gonna even it out over here. Bam. Okay. Let's add some mascara. I love this mascara so much. Okay. And I don't have to sharpen it. That's interesting. Okay. FanFest Benefit. By far my favorite mascara because I have pretty sparse hairs. You can kind of see them there. I'm trying to see here. If I do this, you can kind of see the lashes. Let's zoom in again. I zoom in a lot. Look, I got a new bat mug. As I look, bats. And then right there, I got my Christmas mug waiting. This one's bats, and then this one says Bah Humbug. And I love it. Okay, so my lashes are, they have a nice natural curl, so I don't curl my lashes, but they are really fine, really thin, and I like volume. So finding out what you want out of your mascara, that's what you need to decide. You have to decide, do you want, like, I watched, okay, this is probably the wrong takeaway from this documentary, but I watched The Unknown Number. Talk about these high school kids' lashes. It reminds me of that girl that does 90s makeup where you had like the Maybelline matte mousse. And these girls' mascara were so, oh, they just, I was like, it's not my style. It's not for me. And that's what I tell my kids to say when I make something and they don't like it. They're supposed to say, it's just not for me. I'm like, okay. But their mascara, I'm not going to get into the documentary, but their mascara. Oh, killing me. So this bat mug is from Anthropologie. That one is a pretty easy one to get. They have really great holiday stuff because it changes every year. So if you're wanting things where not a lot of people have it, this is a this season mug. This I got from, it was an Instagram account. It's from Canada. And it was a dumb price because it's so good. And so That was like my one thing. And I got it a while ago because she makes them way ahead of time because it takes a long time. They're all unique. They're dipped. They're very fun, but she makes a limited amount of things. And so you have to like, they sell out crazy fast. I did it anyway. But did you guys see Unknown Number? And did you see those girls' mascara? Like it was like each individual lash and they were so long, but I just couldn't it made me realize how much I love volume. I have an awful hormonal breakout here. I'm breaking out like crazy because guess what tomorrow is. But it's just so funny how much you realize about yourself when you're watching somebody, because it's really not like it looks so bad. It's just not for me. It's not my style. So I like volume so much that I just do. So if you like volume lashes, FanFest is great. And we're going to zoom in again. We're going to talk about it because I want you to really see. I wish I could take a picture and like do that in here, but I can't. But I want it to look like, let's do this. I'm going to see if this can transfer, if this has anything on it. And I just want to buff in some black. I'm going to turn so I don't bonk my eyeball. So I know you like glam because we've talked about this, but when you say glam, does that mean full lashes? Because those girls would probably consider those lashes glam. I could not. They looked, I can't even explain. I know there's something I'm trying, anyways, please tell me you guys know what I'm talking about with this whole thing, but these girls and their lashes, it was like they had 5 lashes and they were so long, which is beautiful. I want long lashes, but I just love volume so much. So I just added with what's left on this brush, some depth right here. It was one of those things where I was watching the documentary and I couldn't stop with their mascara. Could not stop. Okay, so I've just added some depth just on the line right here where I don't have lashes. So when I add my volume, it's gonna look like liner. I've waterlined, but I don't have liner across the top. I've deepened up here, but that just helps it look more full. Anyways, we're gonna take this, I'm gonna swirl it to load it, and then we're gonna do 4 here. 4 applications on the base of the lashes. So you're gonna wiggle your lashes. Look at these bristles. This is what you want when you want volume. Ooh, focus, please, focus. You want volume, okay? So we're gonna press this in, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle into the base, and lift. I did this last time, all right? Going to the inner part, wiggle, 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 lift, okay? Then we're gonna go to the mid, we're gonna wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. You're clearly overlapping here. Wiggle, 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 lift. And then onto the outside again, one more time, really focusing on that outer part. Wiggle, 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 lift. And it just adds this really great amount of volume. And before things start drying, you're gonna keep going in, you're gonna keep building on top of that product you just laid. And it looks like I've got liner. Now thickened up because of the volume, but it didn't give me trashy, gunky lashes. And I've got pretty thin, fine lashes, and I'm really just focusing on the bottom part of my lashes here and building up quality product. Quality product, okay? And we're just gonna keep building this until we have the volume we want, all right? And then we have volume, but you want length too. Duh. So we're just gonna take and we're gonna reload by swirling, grabbing it, and I'm gonna go down and out onto the tops of these lashes. So down, out. I do a little bend. Down, out. And that gave me my length. And then you can go in and just kind of tidy up any clumping, but you wanna go crazy light because you can easily stick them together and then it's impossible. Look at that. I'm gonna do a mascara application video for volume, I think this week. This week, but anyways, we're gonna load it and then do the same thing over here. Now this side has less lash than this side. It's like feet. One foot's always a little bit bigger. All right, lashes. One eye is always gonna have a little bit more. So we're gonna go on the outside first and we're gonna wiggle, 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 and we're gonna lift. Mid, wiggle, 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 lift. inner, wiggle, 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 lift, back to that outer side, really focusing on that outer corner, wiggle, 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 gets those lashes into the bristles, and lift. Okay, I prefer zooming in. If you don't like it, go find somebody else who doesn't do it. But I do like to be zoomed in because I want you to see I don't use filters. My skin is my skin. It's got good days, it's got bad days, it's my skin. And makeup will always look like makeup. It should look like good makeup, but I want you to see what makeup looks like on real skin rather than these women who oversaturate with filters and blur and it just drives me up. The first thing I do is I go to the comments to see who's noticed. Doesn't always notice, but it shouldn't look blurry. Your skin should look like your skin, especially with crepey under eyes. All right, so I'm building up at the base, and I like a good little magnifying mirror, but then you can see how close you are to the base. And doing your mascara before the rest of your face is nice because sometimes you hit, you blink, and you smudge it underneath. And I'll show you how to fix that. So there we go. All right, load it. And then we're gonna comb down and out. So again, little curl to build on the length. And then we can go up. You don't wanna push too much product on because those will clump together very easily. But just building, 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 and you get your length. You don't need to glue things on, that's it. Okay, you sent me a link, thank you. All right, so if you get any mascara, you just let it dry, okay? Let it dry. We don't need to be all zoomed in anymore. We've talked about the mascara, but mascara makes a difference. It can really settle down your eyes, but if you're scared of the pressed pigments, I don't think that this looks like what you would expect pressed pigments to look like. I think this would look like what you would expect mattes to look like. So I've got Santa Fe, I've got Baker Street, and I've got, what's it called again? Days. And these aren't crazy, these aren't wild, and it's a very pretty brightening effect using a color like Days. It's really pretty. Okay, so now that my mascara is dried, instead of smearing it, take a spoolie and you can just start chipping some of it off. And you can work on it that way. But then I'm gonna go in with an under eye cream. But this is why you want to do your eye makeup first, because then you can clean all this kinds of stuff up. So my favorite under eye product is Upgrade. It's gonna add really good hydration. It has replaced my bone because I used it so close to putting my makeup on. Okay, so we're just gonna add a little dollop, and this little doe foot stays cold. You don't have to refrigerate it and then be like, oh, I left it in the fridge downstairs, and you don't wanna go that far. This thing stays nice and cold, super hydrating. It's caffeinated, gives you a little wake up, and it just helps. If you have a lot of texture under your eyes, creasing, crepiness, dryness, I know there's a lot of people whose under eyes are dry and flaky, get this bad boy. If you get a lot of inflammation or you're tired, this will help massage all that inflammation down, and it just feels good and you feel fancy, okay? And it'll clean up any fallout you have, and you just press this around. It's a nice little massager. All right, take the extra time and just give it a little buff out. There is a link for this. It's in my Beauty Society. It's good stuff. So we're just taking a little more, and we're just gonna use this to clean up that mascara. I'm gonna use it to depuff and rub this out. But like I said, FanFest works a lot like a waterproof mascara. And so we're just gonna buff this down, buff this out, depuff. Texture's texture, it's always gonna be there. We just don't need to accentuate it in a way that just looks bad. But this bad boy always feels really nice. Okay, so we're gonna grab it. And I use my ring finger just to give everything a good last buff and massage. And then it can clean up any fallout you have over here. But I just have natural darkness. I'm 44, okay? So I'm not in my 20s, I'm not in my 30s, and I'm not allowed to say that I'm mature. I know. Okay, that's the eyes for now. We're gonna get onto the face. I'm gonna go all Saint because that's what was majority voted. But I will be putting out a tutorial this week because the powder brush is gone. Thank goodness, because that was like, what are we gonna use this brush for? And I've been using the Buff brush for my liquid foundation. It's been great. All right, and today's hair. I saw a picture of me with it parted down the middle, and I just felt a little funky in the picture, so I thought, why not try it today? I need my Wow spray, but I'm trying to think, do I have a video on how I do my hair? It's all about the brush. It's this Amazon brush. I want to say it's linked, but it's plastic and it has the bristles and it has the, is it boars? I don't know. It has those really thick brushes inside, but then it has the little plastic ones that stick out, and around the edge, it has a wave. And so you brush it out in sections and then you turn it and you let your wet hair with, I use mousse, and you comb it through and it makes them into thicker chunks, and then you can scrunch it up and then it does this. And it gives you more individual curls without it being frizzy, and I'm frizzy. Okay, so we're gonna prime with Milk Hydro Grip. I like a good side part because I'm 44. Okay, my cousin asked me to middle part once and it looked real bad. All right, so Milk Hydro Grip, we're gonna pop this on. I'm gonna bring it around. I really focus my Milk Hydro Grip where my biggest problems are, and that is my cheeks. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna pop this on. So Saint makeup, that's what we're working with. Everything fits into a palette. There's a bunch of different size palettes. It's 80% pigmentation. So this bad boy, this is foundation. This right here is foundation. Lip gloss, oof, that is loaded. It depends on what you want. You hate makeup, you love skincare. Go for it. Go for it. You know what's nice? If you want a little bit of makeup, Beauty Societies has skincare in it. But it's not skin. I don't consider makeup skincare when it's infused. It's makeup that has some bonuses. But skincare is huge. I didn't take care of my skin like I used to, like I should have, if you've noticed. Okay, so I've got stuff. I've got maturing skin. I'm going to talk about my favorites. Like I always do, we're going to use a shape brush. This has been my favorite brush lately. And I should probably use a different brush, but we're going to use this for the correcting today. My correctors, I just did a new video with my new hyperpigmentation corrector because Suede is gone. This brush, you probably have this brush. There is one that I think e.l.f. has that's similar. I just don't think it's as good. Okay. All right. Let's see. So we are going to take the bigger end and I'm going to go into this color Aspen, and this is going to get rid of my redness. So color correcting, you need to look at like a mute button. I say it all the time, and it's just taking the sound away. So taking the color away, but you're still going to see the stuff. And so we're going to zoom in because that's what I'll do. I've got a nice little breakout here, a nice little breakout here, and these have texture. And so this one, not so bad, but texture is texture. You're not going to get rid of it. The only way you don't have texture is you have taken a picture and put a filter on it, which is fine. I'm not against filters, but I can't come to you with makeup and then put a filter on and say, look at how good it looks. Instead, I'm going to come and I'm going to say, this is what my skin looks, and this is what my skin looks with makeup on. Makeup will always look like makeup, but it should be good makeup. I always gathered, I cracked, I would crack on my forehead, but I would also crepe really bad under the eyes, and the crepiness almost enhanced the darkness that I get. I don't have a ton, but this would get enhanced with my crepiness. And I've never found another product, even Beauty Society's concealer, I've never found a product that can do what Saint does. Okay. All right, so we're gonna take this brush, it's got some Aspen on it, and we're gonna take this redness here and we're gonna dull it. And we're still gonna see all these little spots. It's the color, the redness is what we're getting rid of. Like that. You'll still see the spots. We're gonna go right here under the nose. The stuff is there, it's just not red. Okay, we're gonna take that up here, we're gonna dull this one, right there. Nice and dull. Grabbing a little bit more, I'm gonna go over this bad boy. You're still gonna see it. The redness is gone. I've got some redness right here. We're just gonna go over it and we're gonna dull it. Okay? Gonna grab some more of that Aspen, and right here where I'm nice and really red, my rosacea is not so bad, but I am starting to get rosacea with my mature skin. And I'm just gonna take this Aspen and I'm dulling the red. Going over to the nose where my broken capillaries are. You still see the stuff, the red is gone. You shouldn't be having a makeup texture with a corrector. You should not see your corrector. You should just see a dullness to your color. That's how thin it is, but 80% pigmentation puts a small amount that doesn't look like makeup, okay? But the color is dull, okay? My color is still red and under there, okay? But the Aspen makes it dull, and it shouldn't add a big old gray smear to my face. Does that make sense? I do Pam. Pam, do I, says, because my comments disappear after my lives, does Frenchie work better for under eyes than Mango? Sometimes. For me, yes. I think Frenchie works best, but that's a person by, like, if you send me your picture, I can tell you what you think. But today I'm gonna put Mango under one eye and I'll put Frenchie under the other eye, and we'll see what we get, because I could eat my words. It's happened before, okay? Next color I'm going into is Walnut. Suede is gone. So Walnut Contour is my new hyperpigmentation, okay? So we're gonna stick with this big end here, and I'm gonna go into Walnut, and I pick Walnut because it has a warm tone to it. Warm tone, gray, warm tone, gray. And so this is gonna be for my hyperpigmentation because it's this color, which is this color, and instead of covering this, I'm gonna turn this to go into this because I'm getting high. I'm 44, guys. Like, this is what it is. I've got hyperpigmentation growing, it's coming in, and that's life. I mean, you can go to it and see a special person and spend a whole bunch of money to get rid of it, or we can just put our makeup on. Or we can just put our makeup on. It's up to you, your face, your decision. If you want to freeze your face, plump your face, melt off a layer of face, if you want to, I don't remember what it's called. My sister-in-law did this for some of her skin, and her skin is flawless and beautiful. I just haven't done it, but you can remove things without melting a layer of your skin off. But do what you want with your face, and I'll do what I want with mine. And that should be how you go about life. The food you eat, the exercise you want or don't want, the clothes you wear, the makeup you put on, the way you style your hair, the earrings, the necklaces, the rings, the nails, everything. The shoes, the underwear, everything you put on your body is your choice for what you like, and it's no one else's business. But I'm just gonna give you some tips. Okay, so my tip is, go get Walnut Contour, and we're going to go in, and we're gonna go around my hyperpigmentation here. We're gonna go up to this hyperpigmentation here, and then I'm just gonna give it a nice blending. We're just stippling it together. All right, stippling it together, boom. And that looks better hidden than it did before. But the other thing is, the Aspen I did to mute my red, the Walnut I did to hide my hyperpigmentation here, they're dense. So they're tough and they're stiff. And so they're gonna stay where I put them. And then when I put my makeup on, it's gonna hold it. It's gonna lay on top of it, and because we're gonna apply it in a real special way. Okay, so we're gonna grab that Walnut, and you can do this with liquid foundation. You can put this under liquid foundation, okay? I already know, yes, I know my hyperpigmentation is only gonna get worse. This came in when I was pregnant, and it went away after my daughter. With all three of my kids, I got a big spot right up here, and it went away. But my two daughters, it went away after my first daughter, and my second daughter, it stayed. So I know it's gonna come in. I went to the doctor for this cute little mole, thinking, because it was new, and I thought I needed to get it removed because it could be something scary, but then he just told me, like, no, you're just gonna start getting more, and I'm like, cool. I don't mind this one. Sometimes they come in and they're kind of cute. All right, anyways, I'm gonna go over here and do the same thing. So I have some discoloration that's a little more splotchy, but I'm just gonna take that Walnut and I'm gonna stipple it up in the same C motion that I did on this side, because I just like balance too. And so we're just bringing it up and around the eye. I get some, in my temples seems to be a hot spot, and right back here seems to be a hot spot. Probably because whenever I wear hats, my the sun still hits in these areas. I found a bunch of hyperpigmentation on my husband's head yesterday, and he was not happy. But yeah, so there we go. And it just gives it a nice fluid, camouflaged look to it. And if you have hyperpigmentation anywhere else, you can take what's left on your brush and just kind of hide it, because I am getting some down in this area here. You can see it here and here. These are just my areas, but yeah. So we're just gonna sweep this down and around if you want. You don't have to. And then I'm gonna go in, and I did that under eye upgrade. I put this on, and if you don't have that, that's great. You are fine, Ashley, being late. That's okay. We're playing with pressed pigments on the eyes. I think you're in my Facebook group. So everybody voted for Days was my top vote. And so that's what's right here is one of the pressed pigments. So the pressed pigments are just as good as the mattes. Okay, so we're gonna do the under eyes. So on one side, I'm gonna do Frenchie, which is this lip and cheek color. And this is one of the reasons why I'm gonna say I like Frenchie more than I like Mango, more than I like the cream correctors. And it's because it's also a blush, but it's also a really pretty lip color. And so something that can do more than one thing. It's the same price as Mango, but Mango isn't a blush and it's not a lip color. Okay, so that's the other reason. I want something that does a couple things. Walnut actually works as a foundation color for me in the summer. I was doing my makeup this summer and none of my highlights were working. And I was like, I remember years ago, 2 years ago, I was using walnut as my foundation. I love it because it stays so good because it's dense. And that was my shade again this summer, was walnut contour. So I'm able to use it to camouflage, and I was able to use it as a main shade. Anyway, so we're gonna take some Frenchie. You just tap a little bit on, look at that, there it is. And we're gonna pop this under the eye. I tap it. I'm gonna tap this under my eye, into my inner corner and down. And again, it's 80% pigmentation, so we don't need a lot, but it just neutralizes. I want a little bit more right in here. It just neutralizes that darkness and counters it, and it gives me a nice surface to start with. Okay, Mango. Let me find Mango. Let me find it in some of my old makeup colors that don't work for Mango. Boom. All right, so we're gonna take Mango the same way. It doesn't pick up the same. Frenchie's a bit more creamy, I'm feeling like. So there's Mango. We're just gonna pop that on. Need more. We're gonna pop this on, and we're gonna go up and down. It's a different look, for sure, but I'm already liking Frenchie more. So I'm just tapping this around. I like the way this neutralizes the area a little bit more. This one does look a bit more natural, but you know what? They will do the same thing. Okay, gotta put Mango back. Okie dokie smoky. Now we can go in and do our makeup, and I'm gonna stay zoomed in because I want you to see my skin skinning. It's one of the things that I pride myself on is no BS. Okay, we're gonna use the blush and bronzer brush because I do recommend this with every color match. Okay, let's see. You think you can underpaint with walnut to cover freckles? Try it. If you have it, try it. That's the best thing about makeup. Now you got something new to try either today or tomorrow. But I say absolutely try it. I love freckles, but it's your face. I say definitely try it. Do a thin amount. I think for freckles, I would use a blush and bronzer brush to camouflage it just because it's a little bit more of a dense brush and a wider area. But absolutely try it and tell me if it works also. Okay, so I am between shades right now. This is Hazel, this is Athens. We're gonna use both of these when you're in a transitional shade, but even this, let's see. So this was my summer shade and it was just too light. Anything more was just too warm for me, which is why I bumped up to Walnut. So this is my typical. Mango just pulled too warm on me also. I'm just more neutral. So Hazel was a great summer color, but I got a little too dark, so I went with Walnut and it worked really well. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this blush and bronzer brush and I'm dipping into both and I just give it a little twisteroo and we put it on. And I'm gonna go to the beard here and I'm just gonna work my way up and up. And this is gonna give me coverage going into the crease of the nose, around the mouth, and we're just gonna give ourselves some balance, but I'm stippling this because I do have maturing skin and I've been getting this crease right here from sleeping. But I wanna get into that crease because it is deeper than it appears here. And so I stipple into it and then I stipple into my pores, into the crease of my nose and then around my mouth. And I just press it in because I have my smile line here. And so I just get that going. And I'm gonna grab a little bit more just to go over a little bit of this right here. But that Frenchie that's under this eye, I'm also gonna use to help camouflage that. And then I'm gonna bring this down my neck. My neck is always lighter than my face. So yeah, grabbing a little more. I love this brush. You also get it in a collection with bronzer, and everybody likes a little bronzer. And Xanadu, oh, I've been loving Xanadu. So we're just gonna balance here with this color. Look at how pretty of a match that is, just mixing those two together. Bringing it down my neck. The order really doesn't matter. Grab as you go, coming up and over my scarring, into my crease, around my mouth, and bing, bang, boom. No filters. It's just makeup. And that's why I say makeup will always look like makeup, but it should look like good makeup because it should make your skin look good. Okay, I'm gonna bring this down and over that little breakout here. Texture. Texture. Texture is texture. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't pile more on, because if you pile, when it becomes flat, when it goes from flat to being more raised, it's going to take all those pores that were once flat and it's going to stretch them out like the collar of a shirt. So the more product you put on, the more you're going to enhance other things that you didn't even factor into your breakout. Okay, so just put it on like it's not there, and then at the end you can go in and do some fixing, okay? Next color I'm going to go into is Sunlit. I've had a lot of people asking me about Sunlit lately because it looks yellow, but we're going to grab this. Watch, we're going to grab it, and I put it on right here because it's reflecting light, so we're just going to put a color that's too light for the skin, and we're going to put it on. That doesn't look yellow, okay? Because we're going to press this out, and it's going to make it nice and light and bright. And again, it's going to counter any redness I have around my brows, like that. I don't look like I just drew a yellow crayon on my face. All right, we're going to grab a little bit more, and I'm going to go right here just because of reflecting light, and then this pretty area we're going to make better by just sweeping a little on, okay? But remembering that this is 80% pigmentation, so a little goes a long way. Look at that, that little fluffy brush. Give it a little wiperoo, and it just takes any excess and builds it down. I'm going to wait and do my nose. Okay. Just looking at the under eyes, Frenchie, Mango, it's just more neutral, whereas this looks more pink. And it's all a matter of preference, okay? So we're gonna go into the detail brush because it is my favorite. It is my favorite if I find it. You guys, why? I have too many brushes is my problem. Too many brushes in one dang, I swear I see you. All right, detail brush. This one has a nice flat, squared, it's so many shapes in one. And I'm gonna go into cedar. I like cedar because of my hyperpigmentation. It's cooler than walnut, and it's gonna work as my contour, but it's also gonna help hide hyperpigmentation. So we're gonna go in, we're gonna stamp in, don't wipe, and I go back and forth so I can get the edges. And we're gonna put some here and here. It doesn't need to be a lot. You don't need that big dark smear. I used to use indigo a lot, but as my hyperpigmentation has gotten more, it grabs it and pulls it and accentuates it, and I don't want to do that. So if you have a lot of freckling, a lot of hyperpigmentation, I would steer clear of indigo as your main contour. You can take indigo and you can pop a little bit on, and that one's very dry because I don't use it very often. And you can add it to the high hairline point of your head, and it can enhance your contour, but don't let it be your contour because it will pull things through. So we're just gonna bridge this across with that cedar, because I used the indigo here. And we're just going to give this a little swirl, pushing into your hairline, down to the outer part of your brow, and then stipple, stipple, stipple. Here, swirl, swirl, swirl into the hairline, and then start stipple, stipple, stippling to the back end of your brow, down your temple, okay? And then I'm gonna take my blush and bronzer, and I'm just gonna pull that brightening outward towards it. Boom. That's a nice looking forehead. Texture. It is what it is. If this texture went away, it's because I would put a filter on. That's just dishonest. I don't like it. So if you want a color match and you want me to really take your skin seriously, I'd love to work with you on some makeup, but I'm not gonna fudge you. All right, so We're gonna take on the edge of this brush into that cedar, and we are going to push this on the top part of our natural shadow. We're gonna keep it really high because as it blends, it will work its way down, and we don't want to do any moving of our face. We want things lifted. So you wanna have this little definition right here. Lightness pulls out, whereas darkness pulls in. So it can accentuate things really, really well or really bad. So again, above, but because of my hyperpigmentation, this is why I like cedar so much. I'm just gonna press this onto my cheekbone, up my temple, and it's gonna work with my discoloration, just like that. Okay. Now I'm gonna take the edge again, and we're gonna go onto the top side of the nose. I have a bump that's a real bugger, and it works against me all the time. And so I just tap the side of my nose and I work it upward. But that bump, man, this bump, I bridge it together here because my bump is such a pain in my butt. And then I bring it down and around, and it just makes my nose look a little lighter, but that's because I haven't brightened under my eyes and I just brought it together. So again, just keep playing with your makeup. Take the small end, pinch it, go into your brightening. So I'm taking Sunlit, and I'm gonna go right down the middle. I'm gonna take my little finger here, and I'm just gonna give it a little wipe up and down to straighten my nose. That's it. That's all I'll do. And I can just take and just put it in little areas if I feel like I need extra touch-ups with what's left on the brush. I had some hormonal breakouts last week, so I'm just gonna give those a little coverage. And that's it. I'm not gonna put lightness on my breakout. It's just going to enhance it because again, lightness pulls out. All right, so I'm gonna take, what's next? Bronzer. I'm gonna go with the blush and bronzer. This is Xanadu. You can't melt Xanadu because it has flecks in it. It's Bella bronzer with glow illuminator in it. And those flecks, you can melt it. You have to be so careful. You can't let it go full liquid. You have to let it go pretty pasty so that the flecks don't settle at the bottom because then it's just Bella bronzer. All right, so I'm gonna pinch this so it stays with the colors that are there, but this is not a throwaway for me. There's still plenty of product on there. So we're gonna take that bronzer, I'm gonna pop some here and up here, and then I'm gonna bridge them together. And this is just gonna add a little bit of warmth. Just really like my bronzer. All right, grabbing it again, pop it up here first, and then I start down here and I bring it around. And I'm just holding on. Let's see, boom, boom, boom. Just bringing it around. I like to add a touch of warmth, whereas Bella can sometimes pull me full Oompa Loompa. I don't want that. Whatever's left, I just push on my neck. Okay, Xanadu is my favorite. It is my favorite. Okay. I'm gonna do blush because I do my under eyes last, but you can see there's a little more neutral and a little more pinky. Sickly. Somebody said, my husband asked if I was sick once when I had Frenchie on. So I'm gonna go back into that Frenchie color, which is again, why I prefer Frenchie for my under eyes is because I have some scarring pulling through. Literally, I hate when my scarring shows. It drives me nuts. And so I'm gonna push this over my scarring and then up the top of my bone here, my cheekbone, orbital bone. Same over here, we're gonna give this some extra coverage. Plus, as you mature, you lose volume in your cheeks. So we don't need to be putting those bright, vibrant colors on our cheeks because it's all pretty uniformed. And then when we smile, we can see where our cheeks used to be. Or somebody once told me my baby fat. I was like, excuse me. Okay, we're gonna mix Days, because I like, is it Days? No, it's not Days. Why am I saying that? Hold on, I need to get this out because now I can't even remember what color this is. I've been using Days. Haze, that's why I got confused. Haze is available with points. You can't buy it with real money. You've got to have, I think, 125 to 150 points. So we're going to take Haze, and I'm going to pop that up here. It is purple. And we're going to pop that up here on the cheekbone. And then we're going to be using Days with Haze. Blush and bronzer. I'm going to smile, and I'm going to push into Haze, go down into my scarring here. and then into that Frenchy color here. Boom, boom, boom. Now, I think Days is going to pull through on my scarring, so we'll see. But I am going to use a fluffy brush. Where's the brush I used earlier to apply it? I had it right here. Did I put it back? Yeah, right here. Okay, so we're going to go into our pressed pigments. Lied. I'm going to go into, God, that doesn't look like the right brush. What did I use? I don't even know. Oh, God, I stirred this whole thing up. No, I don't know. Okay, we're going to do our under eyes. Shape brush, small end. Grab my thing. I'm going to do my under eyes, and then we'll add some of that other color. Okay, so it is what it is. All right, we're going to go into Sunlit. The yellow is going to help with countering the discoloration. I like Sunlit. It is a color if you have very mature under eyes. Message me, message your artist, whoever, and talk about it because it can enhance texture. I'm going to show you how to reduce the possibility of under eye texture. So you're going to take a small light application brush, like the small end of the shape brush. We're going to go in. I prefer this over this brush because it's just too big. Okay. So we're going to take this brush, we're going to go into Sunlit, and we're going to take this natural sheen here, and we're going to just fill that happy bucket. All right, and then we're going to follow up the orbital bone outside of this trough. We're coloring outside of the line. So we're going up the orbital like that. And then we're going to go in to the inner corner here, and we're just stippling this because we have that corrector mango on. We're staying outside. Okay, I'm going to go around my nostril here just to clean some things up, give some lift. So if you have deep smile lines, this can help add lift. And then we're tapping this down, and when it looks pretty blended, then we're going to bring it to that soft tissue. 80% pigmentation, having that corrector underneath means you need to not grab and apply on the soft tissue. We can just move it. Moving it. Take that fluffy end and bridge it with that haze right there. Okay, so now let's do it over Frenchy. Same thing. We're going to grab it. You don't want your bristles sticking to, oh, there you go. You can see it right there. Your bristles should not be clumped together. So we're going to take that natural shine right there, and we're going to go in it. That gives you your starting point. You go up that orbital bone, grab as you need, up that orbital bone, giving your eye some lift by going upward right here. Grab what you need, and then you're going to go again outside of that trough to that inner corner, stippling over your product, stippling over whatever you're using for hydration, and correcting. You're stippling over it because you're keeping that corrector where you put it, and then we're just going to add this on. Then we can go in and we can bring it upward, and we can lighten and brighten, but with less product on the under eye. Okay, so less product on the other eye. I don't like to apply cream to soft tissue because it can create creasing. If you're creasing, you have too much makeup on this little bit. It's hard to see because there we go. You can see it. I'm not trying to say I have wrinkles. Let me be clear. I'm not trying to compare to mature under eyes, but I am saying there is stuff going on under there that I can get creasing with this minimal fine lines. I'm not trying to minimize other people's. It's not a competition. I feel like this is a conversation I get into a lot because I get a lot of backlash by calling myself maturing. I'm 44. What am I allowed to say? Because I'm not 20. So there's that. Okay, so this is the comparison of Frenchy and Mango, and I feel like there's not enough lighting over here, but let's move this light. Oh, that's gonna fall. But Frenchy, Mango. There's not a huge difference. Sorry, I like being close so you can really see, but under eyes, skin texture is a thing. When I walk out, nobody's going to notice I did two different colors under my eyes. It's not that noticeable, but we are looking. So there is that. Okay, so now I'm going to set my makeup before I add Days. So Blue Marble, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. We don't need to be all up in my business all the time. Okay, so I'm gonna take blue marble. You can get it on Amazon. I love this stuff. Love this stuff. Oh wait, I'm not using that. Stop. Stop, hold the phone, set up. I wanted to try this one. So we're gonna see what it smells like. I was having a hard time getting the pump out, and oh my Lanta. Let me just tell you something about this. If it's not spraying, unscrew it, because I had to cut this much off. It had double the length of the bottle, so it curled up. And I wasn't getting any spray, and I couldn't figure out why until I opened it. I honestly thought with the way it was pulling out that it had solidified in here, and it was gelatinous the way that, because it's a really loosey-goosey kind of thing, so it cut very easily. But dang, I almost messaged him like, my thing's broke, but then I pulled it out and I was able to see, oh no, they just used too much tube, which to me seems wild. But okay, so this is Set It Up long-lasting setting spray. And so we're gonna spray. Okay, it doesn't have a sweet smell. I like a lot of setting spray, by the way, because I like full coverage. I don't like the smell. I don't like the smell. It says let it dry or let it, let's see, close your eyes. The fact that you have to tell people to close your eyes. Let it dry naturally or gently press into the skin for extra hold. Well, let's do it. All right, so I'm gonna take the fluffy end of the blend brush and we're just gonna press this in. I like to press it into my high texture areas. So smile lines, right here under my chin, this little area, between the brows, under the eyes. So for extra hold. I am dewy. I'm also oily, so keep that in mind. I do like a dewy finish, but I don't like to look like a grease ball. So I'm gonna go in with my setting powder, which I prefer blotting dust. My blotting dust broke through all of my traveling a couple weeks. I mean, I lived out of a suitcase for a good month of for a good amount of August. We had a family trip, and then I came home, and then I had to leave again for a wedding a week and a half later, and then from the wedding to my grandma's to back, it was a lot. Okay, shape brush. We're going into blotting dust, ooh, which is this crumbly one, but it presses together really well, almost like a putty. We're just gonna tap onto it, and I'm gonna take this shiny forehead, and I am going to set, and I'm gonna hope that it reduces some of the texture on that little breakout there. So I'm just gonna go from the top, and I'm gonna work my way down. But I still want my skin to have a dewy finish, which is why I prefer the blotting dust. I feel like vanilla dust, one, it has talc. So if you have an allergy to talc, vanilla dust has talc in it. The blotting dust does not, but this has an iridescence to it. I'm gonna take the small end. I'm gonna go in a little bit into vanilla dust. And I'm gonna mat it. There we go. Okay, but I'm gonna let the rest be the blotting dust. But that still is less shine than that. Look at how dewy that is, okay? But I still have a nice skin texture. So we're gonna start over here at the temple with blotting dust, and I'm gonna come down over where I set my phone first, and then I'll come down my cheekbone, and then I'll go up into my under eye with this stuff. And that way it will set it, but it's going to still look like a dewy skin finish. So instead of this, it's this, which is not as bad, but I still like it. It all depends on what you want. If you want that matte finish, go get the vanilla dust. That's for you. For me, it accentuates my pores, it accentuates my fine lines, and it makes my skin look older than it is. Sometimes when people say, oh, your makeup makes you look older than you are, which somebody has said to me, and she's my friend, it was the powder I was putting on. Okay, so we're gonna go into that blotting dust again, and we're gonna start at the temple where my least amount of texture is, going over where I hold my phone. I'm on the phone a lot, so we're going up and around, and then down my nose, around the nose, and down, 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 down. I'm gonna do what I did with my forehead, and I'm gonna take that small, and I'm gonna go into that vanilla dust a little bit, and we're gonna go right here just to set that. I don't need to add more color. I can't take texture away by adding more makeup. I can mat it and hope that works, but texture's texture, guys. You can't. And if you're gonna mess with it and be like, if I just empty it out, you're gonna inflame it, and it's gonna get worse before I get in, so leave it. I'd rather spend a day with this texture than all that other stuff. Okay. Okay, the only thing you've noticed about the blotting dust, you love it, but I go through it like crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I do feel like you put more on just because I think I want you to try less. Only because I also will buy 2 and set them side by side. My car has 2 side by side. So I do have that and it does make it last longer, maybe. But I do tend to grab more blotting dust than vanilla dust because it has more give and like, you know what I mean? You have this expectation of going matte. And so I think you grab more than you need, which is what I'm guilty of doing, which is why I'm saying it. You did tell me that it's like Aquanet, but I think we tend to grab a little bit more than we need because we're used to those loose powders and we're used to those matte setting powders. And we're trying to not have that super matte, so we grab less, but then we get this stuff and we still get this pretty dewy finish. So I think it gives you more ability to grab too much. So I want to say try less just to see what happens. I am curious about this one lasting. It does have a much dewier finish. I'm not a dewy finish girl. I already get enough dew with my grease. So there's that. Okay. I say try less because I do use too much. Okay, I'm going to put some brows on, some lips on quick, and then we're going to play, ooh, not lips, but I am going to contour my lips because I am who I am. All right, I'm going to grab my multitasker brush. I'm going to use Indigo today. Last week I did Renaissance, or no, yeah, last week I did a tutorial on contouring lips. Contouring mature lips, which I thought was pretty flippin' good. All right, we're going to take Indigo, and I'm going to outer line, and I'm going to go between the zit and my lip right here. And I'm going to bring it down a little extra right here. Then I'm going to go above my lip and I'm going to give myself a little Gomez Adams. Do you see how it enhances that Cupid's bow? And then I'm going to go right here and I'm just going to add a little bit to deepen. I like a good deep shadow around my lip, but it already gives me a little snatching. I'm going to use that small or that big end. I'm going to grab some Sunlit and I'm going to hide that outer lip line and go outside here, outside the contour, and then hit the lip. Hitting on the lip right here and then going outside, outside, and going in. Okay, we're doing what we're doing. Okay. It was so good. Yay! I was on a deep conversation with somebody about contouring mature lips, and it was creating creasing on her straw lines. And so I was like, I'm going to make one that's just for maturing. What are you doing? Okay, there we go. So yeah, so I dab out my brightening first, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to be so careful with that zit, but I'm going to buff. Buff, buff. Ooh, tap, tap, tap. Buff, buff, buff. Ooh. Look at how pretty that is. And it doesn't look like a big old dirt smear on my face. I'm going to tell you that because once I forgot about contour right here and my husband said, you fall in shit. That's what he said. That's why I said it. But we're going to tap over this little area here just to give it some depth. And then we're going to tappy, tappy, tap. I don't know. Do you mean VMAs? I don't have it. I always watch the videos after. Why? What'd I miss? What? I missed something good? Somebody else get smacked? I don't know. Okay, so it should be a subtle shadow, but you can take it and make it deep. I'm gonna use Indigo again on that little end. All right, and I'm going to draw my actual lip liner. Indigo used to be my go-to lip liner until Renaissance. You can take any lip liner you have, and make it your contour also. I think it makes it look a little more natural. So I'm just going over my Cupid's bow really good and lining with Indigo. If you have Indigo and you deepen any of the little, I did this a few weeks ago where I was like, hey, for events, I take a little bit of Indigo and I'll pop it in and I'll pop it on, and it just gives it a little more depth with my contour rather than putting it on and having it enhance my hyperpigmentation. I can use it as just like an accent, because you can take it and just add a little tiny dash right back here of indigo, okay? With this little brush, you can add just a little bit, okay? Take a brush and just go like that, and it'll give it a little extra kick without pulling all your hyperpigmentation through. It just gives it a little extra. So if you did do that, use it as your lip liner now, because we may not be using that right now because it's not a holiday event and it's not summer, so we're not using those deep colors, but you can use it as your lip liner. You can use it to fill in your brows if you want. I prefer shadow. Okay. Okay, now I'm gonna take that Frenchy color. Oh wait, I didn't line my bottom lip. We're gonna go to that inner lip line and come down and meet the lip and then align it. Inner lip. I will sometimes pop a little bit off the bottom lip because you can't tell there. Okay, we're gonna take that Frenchy, we're gonna go right in and buff that in with indigo. And somebody earlier asked me about lip gloss. I don't have a favorite lip gloss. There are some out there that are too thick. I don't like thick and sticky at all. I'm a lipstick girl though. Like if you're a girl of the 90s, of the 80s, we're lipstick people, right? Right? We like a little gloss, but we want it to be light. We don't want it to be sticky. We're lipstick people. So I don't have one. Okay, boom, put this on. I'm gonna take a lip oil. Ooh, you know what's a good lip oil, and it's not Saint. Kofi. It's an oil. It's a stain oil, and it's so pretty. This is the color Rose. It was popping up all over my feed, and it is really pretty. Look at that. And it goes over really nice. You can use this on its own. I use this on a gal whose makeup I'm doing in about 2.5 hours. She does podcast videos, and I go and I do her makeup for her podcast videos. Look how pretty that is. It's such a pretty lip stain, lip oil. You can use it as a topper. You can use it on its own, and it's so good. But I'm going to put Days with this, but you have to have something hydrating on top. Okay. You have an addiction. So do I. The butter gloss, butter gloss reminds me of this stuff. The Kofi, it does. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so now I'm gonna pop on a few brows. A few, 3, 2. We're gonna put some brows on real quick. So going in, grabbing the brows. We're just gonna bang them on real quick. So we're gonna make this fast so that we can get into Days. I'm excited to share this little combo because this was the top color everybody was scared of on the vote I did in my Facebook group. Everybody on these pressed pigments is terrified of Days. What a good pumpkin patch color. It's a really pretty pumpkin patch color. All right, so if you're getting ready for corn mazes and all that jazz, this is your shade. You go get Days. Okay. Frosty lipstick at Dollar Tree. Well, what is it? What? All right, so just putting this on real quick. I'm working as quick as I can on the brows. I don't like to do my brows before because I always just screw them up while I'm putting my makeup on. So then you just got to deal with it. And I have tons of brow tutorials. I got deep into it last week, and it just makes my videos so long. My lives are always long. So if you're not used to that, every Monday, 8:30 Pacific time is the easiest time for me. And I always have long videos on Mondays. It is what it is. But we are very engaging and interacting here. So it's not like I do a live and ignore everybody. I only ignore the jerks. Okay. Color Mate. What's the color of Color Mate? But sounds like it might be in a purse or a car. But I have Saint's lip oils in sprinkles in my car. It reminds me of a pinkier version of Chai. Chai is one of my favorites. Okay, let's get into that last piece of Days. Days is that scary color. I'm telling you, this is, oh, I'm really scared to put this on my cheeks. I'm gonna take blotting dust and I'm really gonna pop this on right here just to protect and make a blending surface, kind of like the eyeshadow where we do the blending surface. I'm just gonna pop this on here, okay? And now I'm gonna go in. I'm just gonna grab a little right here. Ooh, that's not bad. Okay, just go light and build. Okay, so Days on the lips mixed with the lip oil, okay? It's a little more orange than what I like, but also I think if you're doing like, I mean, it's fall, y'all, football games, you can get away with so much, okay? So much more going to a football game, going to a pumpkin patch. Like if you're doing holiday stuff, you can do things you don't normally do, okay? This is pretty, so there's a lot of colors on here. I would, whatever lip oil, lip gloss, make sure it's a light, less sticky one. So one of my favorite lip glosses, somebody did ask me, what's your favorite one? So, Biscuits and Gravy. It's a Bare Minerals. I don't know where it is. I swear, I just saw it. Bare Minerals has a really good one. Tarte Juicy Lips. This one's really good. Also Rose. I have a thing for Rose. Bare Minerals. Oh, where are you? It might be in another bag. Bare Minerals has a really good one. I don't know where it is. So I'll have it for next year, but, or not next year, next week. It's really good. Anyways, just grab a lighter gloss and pop this on. Okay, Maybelline sells one that's beautiful. Is that, there's one I was watching where this girl's just grinding it on. I feel like it was a Maybelline. And it was really pretty. I don't know why you need to put that much on, but just get a chapstick. You could use Aquaphor. You could use one of Saint's oils. Put that on and then take this and put it on. Ooh, Whip Whip with Saint is so good. And just pop that on. It's pretty. It's very pretty. Okay, let's put it on the cheeks. It is a good pumpkin. We're getting into pumpkin season, but that's pretty. You could pop a little bit of shimmer on top of it. I wonder, hold on, I want to see something here. There was a color that I'm going out on a limb to say is discontinued that this reminds me of. Let me just look. Yes. Oh boy. It was called Moscow. And that's what this reminds me of, but matte. Moscow. If I added some shimmer to the top, it would look like Moscow. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to put this on the cheeks. I'm just kind of stalling because I'm scared. Okay, so we're going to grab a little. I don't like this. The lip oil from Beauty Society Retro is my favorite. But I feel like this kind of looks a bit like retro. But anyways, just a gloss underneath. So I put some powder on to kind of help. I'm like, ooh, that is pretty. Okay, so it's having a hard time blending. But I have seen people use these. Oh, there is a clear one, you're right. Boom. I'm keeping this away from my scarring because I tapped it a little and it's already pulling it through. But keeping this blended. Can be super pretty. I'm going to go on the top of my cheekbones here. And then I'm going to, this is like a new thing, right? What the kids do, where they bring it across. I don't know. I just look like I got punched in the nose. Why not? Okay, that's really pretty. Okay, it takes a little extra work, but what doesn't? I mean, this thing's almost 90 minutes. We're an hour and a half in. You know, I wish I could say these are going to get shorter, but it just seems like they get longer every time because we have fun. But days on the cheeks, Days on the lips and days on the eyes. I could even punch this up if I wanted to, and I bet it'd be real pretty. Because now, oh, I like that. Everybody was scared of this color. I had quite a few votes, and there were 18 people that said this was the scariest color. I don't think so. That's pretty. Punch it up. Ooh, you could go to work like this. Okay, this is really good. Get your fall sweaters out. I wouldn't do an orange shirt with an orange, like, you know what I mean? That might pull you full Oompa Loompa. It like pulls extra things, but Days is real pretty. Look at how pretty that is. Oh, I should have worn this to the football game this last weekend. I'm adding more. This, oh, look at how far I've gone. Look at how far I've gone. Okay, black shirt would be pretty, So we, don't hate me for this, are beaver fans in our house, Oregon Beavers. They're not the greatest team, but it's fun, okay? But this color, okay. Black, brown, go to a beaver game. Oh my Lanta, look at how pretty that is. Go to a pumpkin patch. Halloween. I know a lot of people like to dress up as scarecrows when they go to pumpkin patches. Boom, boom, boom. Go get yourself a nice fall plaid shirt, browns and oranges on it. If you were scared of this color, I don't think you, oh God, I really like the way it made my skin like almost bronzy. Who's gonna go buy it? Just crazy, are you? This is a really, really pretty color. I would not have thought I would like this as much as I do. I wish I had more lashes over here. I kind of want to take, why not just go a little farther, right? Let's grab some of that unicorn shimmer that I put on the inner corner, and we're just gonna use a brush over it. You can't really tell. Ooh. You really can't even tell. You can shimmer it up. This is a good color. I like when I can ask people. So the next color I'm gonna play with this week is gonna be Ladybug. That was the next vote, was Ladybug, which is another stinking red. But do be careful, because they do come with a warning of if you have sensitive eyes, you could have a reaction to whatever ingredient they use on these oranges and reds and pinks. So the next color we're gonna play with is this one, which isn't far off. Probably gonna use it the same way. But the pressed pigments are so good. They are really, really good. I almost wanna, this would be really pretty layered. So if I'm gonna play with this one more for sure. I almost wanna do this by week, like days for the week, because I wanna take Lyra, which is this purple color, and I want to do the gradient look, and I want to tap this on top of Lyra. It'll probably be so pretty. So Lyra is almost like a deep purple, and then you can take Days. Ah, look at how pretty that is. Okay, they're pretty. You don't be scared of the pressed pigments. If you were scared of them, it's only because they're more vibrant. They are just like the mattes. Sorry, not sorry. I think Philly is more pigmented than all of these, okay? So, yeah. Okay, let's see. Would that look good on your complexion? Alice, yes. Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. I know your skin tone. Yes. You're deep and you're moody. Yes, absolutely. I'm sure you have Baker Street, if I recall. Another one that would be really pretty with this pressed pigment would be Honeymoon, which kind of reminds me of pomegranate. Super pretty. That's what I wore for the wedding, was pomegranate, and it was so lovely. But I think a lot of these pressed pigments are perfect for fall. But don't be, oh, I can't wait to post this look in my Facebook group, because people better go buy it. This is a good color. Okay, that's it. That's my live this Monday. I will be back next Monday, 8:30 Pacific time. Message me, subscribe, message, follow, notification, all those things. But message me. Let's do a color match. let's talk about skinning, and let's make a palette that makes your skin. Remember what my skin looked like at the beginning? Do we remember my skin at the beginning? Because this is not what it looked like. All right. I'm glad I'm back too. Honestly, my lives pulled me out of the dark, and I desperately needed my lives back because it was hard. Life was hard. It's hard becoming a really nice person from being the first granddaughter, the favorite, if you will, to being that nice lady. That was a tough one for me, so I couldn't be here, but now I am, and you guys made me better. All right, this is great. I really like this color. Write it on your little list of things as we go through. I think I'm gonna play with days for the week. This made me wanna try so many new things with this color. So, days for days. All right, what was the lip gloss I used? It is Kofi. It is something it looks weird. This is backwards, but Kofi, it's the color rose. I like the color rose, I guess. But it is a lip, it has it's a stain. It's an oil stain, so it's really hydrating, but I don't know if you can really tell. Trying to get it to show. There's gold flecks in it, and it's so pretty. It's pretty on its own. But yes. Oh, I like that, Shelly. Okay, I'm going to leave because I want to say that last. But that's the live. We'll be back next week, and we'll be playing with Ladybug. I'll probably do the same eyeshadow look with Ladybug. But that's it. Have a great day.